Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network. And we are back here with Coach Barnes. So excited to have her here. Goldmine Thoughts, coach, author, friend, companion, just a great, awesome person. And for those of you not on the Zoom, you're live on the podcast. I'm seeing her today with an amazing new background. Tell me what this is.
Oh, awesome. So thanks, Jill. Happy to be here again. Behind me, I have my display that I take with me when I travel as far from motivational speaking, as well as when I go for my book signings. I love to be able to have all my information. So I love to be able to interact with my clients as well as prospective clients. And those who have brought my book, I love to be able to talk with them and, give them a little piece and exchange, right? In order to do so, it's busy. It's hectic when you have a lot of people, and some just want your information. So I have this display that captures and has all the information that they may need, so they can just like scan my QR code. It takes them to the website and lets them subscribe. It tells them a bit about my background and things of that nature. So it's able to share a piece of me in the visual sense while I'm engaging with others.
Beautiful. Well, we're so happy to have you here, and I'm loving the background. So let's see, Goldmine Thoughts, of course, what you do. We mentioned a little bit about that. What did you have in mind for us today?
Today, I want to tap into leadership, right? Leadership roles, development of leadership, and what does it look like to be an effective leader? We spend some time talking about resilience. We spend some time building up as far as skills and life skills. But I want to dig into leadership today, if that's all right with you.
Of course it is. Absolutely.
Okay, so those of you that are now tuning in, whether it's you're able to watch this on TV or if you're just listening, I am Coach Barnes, founder and CEO of Goldmine Thoughts, located at 55 Washington Street, Brooklyn, New York, 11201. Downtown in the heart of Brooklyn. So don't be afraid to stop by, check in, or you can find me at www.goldminethoughts.com. That's the website. And you can follow me on social media at Coach Barnes GMT. Now, in terms of leadership, I want to dig in today about what does it look like, sound like, and feel like to be an effective leader, right? Because a lot of times people get these titles, and they feel like the title does itself, right? It's like I'm a leader just because of the title. And a title can do one of two things. It can either push you to live up to your best expectations, and try to come outside the box so that you can inspire and uplift others, or it can go to your head and then you're stuck in this confined space of my title speaks for me and I don't have to put forth the effort, right? And when you do that, you kind of strip away your ability to grow as a leader, as well as it kind of ruins the relationships and the morale within your business because you become more of a boss, which is just like my title is my title, and what I say is what I meant, versus I'm a leader and I'm working alongside of my team, and I want your success to be my success as well, right? If you're successful on my team, then I'm successful as a leader because together we make the team. I can't make the team by myself. So I want to tap into that today. What does it look like to be an effective leader? What does it sound like from the perspective of others, like those that you're supervising? What are they hearing when you're speaking, and what are you hearing when they're asking questions? So that's definitely something that's important as far as being an effective leader. It's about knowing when to say less so that you can hear more.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And I'm pretty sure, Jill, you're successful. You've been in many roles in different capacities. You'll work with different leaders. Can you share an experience of your own where you felt like in the role of having been a leader, but then another role, another aspect of it of having a leader who may not, who you didn't feel valued you because you felt like they wouldn't hear your voice?
Oh my gosh. Okay. Well, where do I start? As a leader, I've honestly loved what I love most, and it's happened a few times with a few different people, but I got to actually have an intern when I worked at the television news station. I got to have an
Mm,
intern who, a few of them, who got to come with me every day, go around, shoot video, edit video, put the story together, pack it together. And they were so graciously grateful. I have a handwritten card still from one of them, this girl named Devin, who is like my ultimate amazing. She was an amazing mentor, and she was willing to go above and beyond to help. And here I am, I'm, leading her in a sense, showing her the ropes. And now she's working at NBC. She's got a great job. So like she credits me, and I'm like, you were just so there was something about her in particular that was so vivacious, so motivating. So, but again, she needed someone to show her the ropes, right? So it was really, really nice to feel that, and got goosebumps talking about it. Um, the other position where I've dealt with leaders, unfortunately, some bosses of mine who were not nice at all, and they're in leadership roles.
right.
I lead, I think, differently. I lead kindly, respectfully. I want people to be my friend and be kind. Some people lead differently, and I don't think that works so well. They lead rudely, not helpful, meanly. I've had a few instances with a few bosses in the television business that are just, it made the work environment so uncomfortable to go to, made my job miserable, made my life miserable. And it's like they kind of like even like knew they were being mean, but they liked it. And they had this amazing job. And then it's great to find out years later that two of them got fired and let go for their own reasons because they were doing something wrong. So my dad always said to me, Jill, when I had that job, like Jill, I'd call my dad and my mom every day after work. Stick with it. Don't worry. Don't worry. And he would say a lot of curse words. He's like, what goes around comes around. They're not going to do this to you. They're not going to, but they were mean, like really mean, that really put a poor taste in my mouth about the television news business, to be honest. And I'm so grateful I'm not working in it much at all anymore, because there are some cruel people out there. So, but it's so sad that people come with this leadership and they think they have this power, and it ruins them, or is it them? But then it's like, how did the boss see through this to hire someone like this? How come they don't see what they're doing? Because they're not, nobody's liking them. It's not productive. It's not helping us. But yeah, that's my story. And that's okay.
And see, and thanks for sharing that. And so that speaks exactly to what I'm saying, right? As far as being an effective leader. That was leaders leading by title, but not leading by example. And there's two types of leader. You have the leader who leads by title, and even in telling your story, the unpleasantry within those roles, you can tell a difference because you can say my leaders or supervisors, you said boss, right? But when you were in a more positive setting and you sort of you see the joy and the
Oh,
interaction and the
yeah.
well-being and them wanting to see you grow and you being able to want to see someone
Yeah.
else grow, you said leadership. That's what
Yeah.
leadership is. Leadership is about motivating and inspiring someone else, not because you're getting something out of it, but more so you see the greater good in that person, and you see that potential, right? And you're not trying to hold on to the power,
Yeah.
and that's what happens with, unfortunately, with those leaders who lead by title. It's that power struggle. It's that sense of um I am the boss, and it goes this way or it's the highway, versus um let's think about this together, and how can we make this business successful together? Because as a leader, you're thinking about when I'm not in there present,
Yeah.
I know my team has it because they have shown me that we have worked these plans together. So I know if I'm on vacation or if I'm out ill, the business is okay because the machine runs well. It runs well because we've done this together. Versus the boss who never wants to take off because they feel like nothing gets done right if they're not there. You
Yeah.
know, and again, that goes back to effective leadership, asking the right questions to get the answers that you need to move you forward, and knowing when to say less so that you can hear more. Because effective leaders always have communication at the
Yeah.
base, at the foundation of their organizations or at the foundation of the team that they're leading, because effective communication leads to overall good morale.
Yep. Absolutely does.
Right. And so as you were saying in your example of the interns that you had, where your interns like what gave you motivation and inspiration, just as they were viewing you and saying, wow, Jill is great. I want to be like I want to take what I'm learning from her and apply it to my own, now apply it to my own life and strategies. And now they're able to do that because they're off and they remember those moments. They remember the things that they learned with you.
Yep.
And you got something from them and they got something from you, but it was more so of a mutual, like it was a mutual uplift.
Yeah. Yes.
It wasn't transactional. Like this is a business and I have to give you these skills. It was enjoying for the love of the work that you do, as well as seeing someone else do well. And that is a major part of effective leadership. Wanting wanting the people that you're leading to do well and taking turnkey the lessons that they learn from you and putting it into their own life and then hopefully go and use those and turnkey those things for someone else, right? Because each one teach one,
Yeah.
right? And that's the basis of effective leadership. And so when I speak of more of the say less to hear more, it's about understanding and knowing the problems that you're solving. How do you know
Hmm.
if the problem that you're solving is the problem, is the correct problem to solve, right? And when you think about that as a leader, you think about, am I just walking around putting out fires? Or,
Or
you know what I'm saying? Or am I working with the team to come up with a structure and a system to make sure that these fires do not happen?
yep.
And the only way to do that as an effective leader is to hear and understand what the team who is really doing the work has to
Hmm.
say about the project and what's needed for the project. Because as a leader, if you go around and you're not communicating with the rest of the team, what happens is you have this vision in your mind about how the overall outcome of this project, but you're not sharing it with the rest of your team who's actually doing the work.
Yep.
So you find yourself putting out little fires because you're not getting the results that you want because you weren't able to communicate that. And I'm sure you have experienced that yourself as well, Jill. Like someone come and they say, like, Jill, I have the show I need you to do. I like the story I need you to cover. And you're like, okay, give me the details. And they're like, well, you're so great. Just make it happen. And you're like, all right, you put all your work into it. Like you're like, okay, well, I know that is like in coverage you're supposed to have X, Y, and Z. And then you get back and they're like, oh, well, you didn't capture this. Or you didn't capture that.
Oh, yep.
And
Exactly.
so you're like, well, I asked you exactly what it was that you want, and you gave me the ranks, and now you're telling me I'm missing these pieces.
Yeah.
And that's because it was that break in communication. It was that break in of let me tell you all the pieces. So while you're putting the puzzle together, you're not missing information. And if you're going to be an effective leader, you have to be able to articulate and communicate all the pieces needed to put the puzzle together. And so I felt as the summer's coming to an end and a lot of people are going back into the workplace, not virtually, but really back into the workplace. After being home for nearly 2 years, it's important to re-identify what it looks like to be an effective leader. So I'm challenging and encouraging leaders that are out there that you're listening, do some self inventory. I want you to, even if you can put together um, a survey or something and put out to your team, just so that you can get an understanding of what effective communication is going to look like moving forward now, because it's been that gap. It's been that 2 year gap where people were home and they were doing things in a different manner because like because they just had to operate the way they had to operate from home, right? But now as you're going back into the workplace setting, you're not on your own anymore. You're dealing with physical people now, and so
Yep.
it's important to do that inventory of what does effective leadership look like for you, as well as how does it look for
Mm-hmm.
those that you are leading, because you want to make sure that you all align and on the same page.
And just curious, have you had the same experiences in life too with some not nice leaders? I'm
Oh,
assuming we all have, right?
we all have, and I've definitely had numerous encounters with those who I've had both great supervisors, leaders, who actually end up being mentors, and I've had those supervisors who it was like very dry, wanted to it was just black and white. Like, I am the boss, I am the leader. This is what I need from you, and that's it. And in those sense, it didn't feel like it didn't. The workplace just didn't feel. It didn't have that feel of this is where I want to be.
Mm-hmm.
It had that this is where I have to be right now for me to
Yeah.
get to where I want to be. So I'm just gonna push through. Whereas in other positions, other roles, um, it was more of like a togetherness, and it was more of a if you succeed, I succeed, and that how can I support your development stages? How can I pour into you so that you feel good about pouring into the community and pouring into the company, right? And so in those instances, those are where I spend
Then, yep.
most of my time, right? That's where I enjoy. I enjoyed working in those places. I enjoy working for those supervisors or those leaders. I enjoy producing the best quality of work because I
Sure.
was enjoying what I was doing.
Yep.
Versus in the other sense where it was like I'm here, I need to pay my bills, so I'm just going to do what I need
Mm-hmm.
to do until I find something else. And so that's why that's important. You want to make sure that you're not losing quality
Quality.
staff.
Yep.
You're not losing quality staff because you're letting a title go to your head.
Yep.
And that's so important because right now, everyone is revamping what their life looks like. Everyone is doing self inventory. And if you have quality members on your team, you want them to stay.
I agree.
You want them to stay. So you need to do your inventory of self.
Do
You
your
need to do
part and
right.
yep.
You need to do your
Mm-hmm.
inventory of what leadership looks like and sound like. And you need to do your inventory of how happy your staff is working for you. Because if you don't do that, then you'll
Mm-hmm.
never know the water cooler conversations, right? And
True.
I call them water coolers because you know how having an educational background, working in the school setting, in the teacher staff room, it was like all the problems came out in the staff
Yep.
room, right? By the water cooler. Everybody getting a cup of water in between classes, and they're writing and they're raving about the things that they're upset about. And it's like, you don't want to be that leader
No.
that is the
Mm-hmm.
subject of water cooler conversation. And so I tell
Exactly.
my clients that all the time, right? Make sure that you are leading with motivation and inspiration versus leading with a strong fist. Because that strong fist gets you to be the topic of water cooler conversation.
Oh, good discussion. Leadership, goal line thoughts. We're talking here. Please remind us who we're speaking with, please.
Absolutely. This is Coach Barnes, founder and CEO of Goldmine Thoughts, leadership development and life coaching services, located at 55 Washington Street, Brooklyn, New York, 11201. And my website is www.goldminethoughts.com. You can follow me on all social media platforms at Coach Barnes GMT.
Perfect. Thank you again. And leadership is the topic today. Never thought about some of these things, but my gosh, I just like happy, kind leaders. I think it's more productive for everyone in the workplace, for everyone. I mean, now as a coach, what are some of the issues you've run into with people dealing with leadership?
Some of the issues that I run into, which is another reason why I came to this topic, came to me this week, is that need of control, right? Um, a lot of there's a lot of misconceptions when it comes to leadership. People are often thinking in order to lead, you have to control.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and that's just a misconception. That is not true. That is not true at all. You have to remember you're working with adults, right? And
Yes.
even if you're working with you're working with individuals that come with their own thoughts, feelings, and experiences. And
Mm-hmm.
it's important to take that into consideration when you're dealing with tone, when you're dealing with delivery, when you're dealing with any forms of communication, because it's important to always keep impact versus
Yeah.
intent at the center of all communication. Because it takes a long time for a person to get over feeling dismissed. It takes a long time for a person to get over feeling embarrassed or belittled. And no one wants to feel any of those things in the workplace.
Yeah.
And if you want people to be the most productive, which you should, having that sense of you have sole control of everything
Yeah.
does not make it doesn't increase productivity within the workplace. It
Yes.
doesn't. So if you want as a leader, if you want to maximize productivity, then you have to listen and value the team that reports to you.
True.
So those were some of the things that I've run into with some of my clients as far as training them on leadership development and how to be the most effective. Because I also tell them that the loudest person in the
Uh,
room is not necessarily the most successful in the room.
mm-hmm.
So just because you're a leader, you don't always have to poke your chest out. There's a way to allow your presence to be an example of
Example.
leadership. So you want to be able to command the room with your presence, not necessarily having to command it with your loudness. And that's very key. That's very key to others seeing you as a leader. Because have you ever been in a place where you walked in, when someone walks in the room and you like, oh, I wonder who that is. Right?
Yeah.
Right.
There's a presence
Right.
about them or
Right.
something.
It's just
Yes.
something, it's just an essence, it's just something about them that makes you like, I wonder who that is. Versus the person who's making the most noise in the room. Often you're like, oh my goodness, like who is that
So
person? Like
annoying. Yeah, yeah,
it's so
yeah.
annoying. So the reaction is different. And you want to have that reaction on people of, oh, I wonder who that is, versus, oh my goodness, like that person is just, what is going on with that person? Like you don't want to be that leader. Like you
Yeah.
don't want to be that individual, period. Right?
Yeah.
But it's speaking in terms of leadership, you want to be able to command the room with your presence.
Yeah.
You want to be able to command the room with your presence. You want people to gravitate towards you, not in the sense of you throwing yourself on people,
Yeah.
right? Because when you throw yourself on people, you're easy to forget about.
Mm-hmm.
But when people gravitate to you, then you're memorable, right? Because when they're meeting or speaking with someone else, your name is in the room. Because if you know what, I met Jill. I met Jill at this conference. And oh, she was so awesome. And this is the experience I had with her. So without you even having to be in a room, that positivity, that energy that you give off, that strong presence, allows allows you to be able to speak in rooms that you're not even in.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's what's important about being a leader. You want to be able to be in rooms in presence as well as be in rooms as memories.
Aw, yeah. Absolutely.
necessary, right? Because we do have some leaders, we do have some individuals who are probably starting in their leadership role
Yeah.
for the first time. And this especially in the schools, right? Schools are now starting going back in, and you have new people going into leadership roles, new teachers going into classrooms, and they have all these minds that they're going to have this great impression on, and you want to make sure that they have tools. Or at least I know I want to make sure that they have the tools necessary to be the most positive, to be the most motivational, most inspirational to the minds that they're shaping and molding, as well as making connections with individuals who want
Yep.
to be in your presence so that you can not only lead effectively, but you can build something strong enough to make your business profitable, as
Yep.
well as have people interested in working with you.
I appreciate it. Well, thank you so much for being here. Coach Barnes, tell us how we can reach out to you.
You can reach me at www.goldminethoughts.com. You can follow me on all social media platforms, Coach Barnes GMT, and don't forget to email me info@goldminethoughts.com.
Perfect. Thank you. And all of her social media, look for her, Google her. And your books are available on the website as well.
Yes, my books are available on the website. And don't forget, we have Grievance to Heal coming to us shortly. I just got the final version. I'm just waiting for the sample books to be delivered for my final approval. But Grievance to Heal, the Shadow Boy Experience, will be out before the end of this year.
Congrats. Thank you so much. Have a great day. Talk soon. Bye.
You do the same. Take care, Jill.
Are you looking for even more of the podcasts and hosts that you love? The Podcast Business News Network is proud to announce that you now have even more ways to listen live. Check out the MyTuner Radio, online radio box, and Simple Radio apps on iOS and Android, or find us online. Search for Business News Network on mytuner-radio.com, or search Podcast Business News Network on streama.com and onlineradiobox.com/US. Take your podcast on the go and don't miss a minute of the action.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house. And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned. This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.